you've made to be on this. I do think it's helpful to have Rochelle from DAC-DB do these trainings. I think it's it makes the process a little less scary for those new folks, and just a nice reminder for those of us who only do it, a few times a year. Just a couple of things. I have talked to our district branch chair, Jim Hardison. We've had some really good conversations. Jim is not going to start looking at all of the final grants. It's been a tough year for Jim, but he's going to wait until he gets a fairly large number. So he's sitting down one time. Hopefully within 3 sessions, he'll be able to move through those as opposed to 20 sessions as they come in. So if you've turned that final report in and you haven't heard, that it's been approved, don't worry. There's a process. I also wanted to let everyone know that Jim and I had a discussion, and we will not be approving any new grants until your final grant is approved. So the new grant is due April 1st. So you really do need to have that final report and give us time to approve it so then we can move forward with that April 1st deadline. There's a lot that has to be done to get all this into RI. RI had some glitches this past year. And of course, with COVID and people working remote, and they've had to work through some things. So I don't want to put them in the corner. And they don't want me to put them in the corner either. So we got to play pretty. So we do need these new grant applications in by April 1st. And if you run into a problem, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or to Jim, and we will try to work through all of that. On another note, Rochelle may can speak to this later. Excuse me, we were talking about having the MOU and the MOU addendum inside of the module so that you could do the same thing like you do with your final report and the grant application. You can kind of click your signature. So hopefully by next year that will be the case. We won't have to have it scanned in. I think that will make it easier on everyone. We've also talked about having the MOU and the MOU addendum due at the same time as the new grant. So you might see a few changes for next year. So now I'm gonna turn it over to Rochelle.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I had to find my unmute button. Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure meeting with you guys. I'm going to jump right into it. But to get started, there are a few things that need to be done before you can apply for a district grant. And I just want to make sure we kind of cover that real quickly. So your club president-elect has to attend the grant management training. That's what we're doing today. Sign and turn in or upload your MOU. And you're going to need a couple of signatures for each grant application. So keep that in mind. Normally, it looks like you guys would use the president-elect and president nominee. So if your PE or your PN for some reason can't sign, be sure to check with Barbara or your DG or grant chair to see who would be a good alternative to sign.
Rochelle, we did ask everybody to put 3 people in, a backup person, just so if we couldn't get in touch with them and it was time to send it in, it wouldn't be so hard.
That is perfect. That's what I like to do in my district as well. And then it looks like the applications will be due by April 1st. I am going to share my screen, get some things situated here. And let me get that large. Okay. So I am in your district and I am in the Mount Olive Club. This is kind of going to be our test club for this demonstration today. Right here, you're going to go to the My Club tab, and then there's the grants icon. You want to click on that. That'll take you right here to where you can start getting ready to enter your grant. The next thing you'll want to do, and excuse me, my security level is much higher. So I see quite a few extra things over here in the left side menu. What you want to do is click on the club grants view. And this is where your grants will be listed that you're going to submit applications for. The other thing you'll want to do, be sure to do, is here under the admin is you'll only see club signatures. You want to make sure you click on that and get all of your signers, like Barbara indicated, 3 signers over here in the permission column. Let's go back to club grants view. The other thing you'll want to be sure to do is, if necessary, you can change the org gear. Is this grant in the 21-22?
Yes, it is.
What we're doing this for? So we're just going to leave this alone. But if it was for 22-23, you would click on this button and a window with a drop down menu with the years would open up and you could select the next Rotary year. So we're going to click here on new club grant request. And Barbara, I will be sure to remove our test once we're done. So no worries.
All right. And in fact, we've got our information in there for 22-23. So it doesn't matter whichever one you want to use.
Oh, well, I want to start fresh.
Okay.
We'll start from scratch. So
Okay.
you're going to click on this new club grant request button right here. And at first, you're only going to see these 4 tabs. Now, once we update and save this grant, you're going to notice we get more tabs across the top. So the first thing we're going to do is give our grant a name, and you can select your priority. Again, here is the org gear. We're just gonna add a few things here about our city, state, and country. Here is your target completion date. And I am going to just say, we're going to have this completed by the end of March. And I like to do like a dictionary project type grant, because a lot of people do those dictionaries for the 3rd graders, and where supporting education would be my area of focus. Then you'll put down here a brief description. And we're going to go back up to the top. If there is another club that you're partnering with on this grant, you can select them from the list here and just use the arrows to move from the left to right columns. We're just going to leave this for Mount Olive. Your contacts, you'll see here, I'm listed, but say I want Barbara and I are going to work on this grant together. So I want to make sure that she has access. So I just find the name in the left side column and click on the right facing arrows to move from this column over. And then your application. So we're going to say we're going to start today, and we're going to complete this project by the end of March. We want to enter where we want this check to be sent. And here are some other things that you'll want to go ahead and enter. And this will populate under the final report tab for you. So you can add your committee members here if it's a club project for a committee. And here are going to be our objectives. And humanitarian efforts. So we want to talk about how this is going to benefit the lives of those that are going to get something from this grant. So we'll say, and Rotarian involvement. So we're going to say Rotarians. I know this doesn't always apply these days because of COVID and not being able to go into schools, but we'll pretend like it was the good old days. It's one of my favorite things to do with Rotary is hand out those dictionaries. And we're going to say we're going to do social media post, newspaper, or even a news spot. So say your local news station contacted you and they're going to do a story on your project and what you guys are working on. And down at the bottom, you'll want to be sure to do the check on the club statement agreement, as well as the trustee guidelines and matching grants. Once you have all of this completed, go ahead and scroll up to the top and we're going to click save. Oh. Now we have a couple more tabs over here. And this is where you're going to go to the budget tab and you're going to add an income source. One thing about the budget that can be a little confusing for everyone is that all of your income sources and all of your budget, all of your expenses, they need to zero each other out. So we're going to click on add income source and we're going to say DDF funding. That's normally what I use. And I'm going to say, well, let's say $100. And then you're going to select DDF requested and just click add. And then we're going to add another income source because the club is going to do some funding here. So we're going to say the club did like $100 as well. And select other club funding and click add. So here we have all of our income added. Now we want to add our expenses. And we're going to say dictionaries cost $200. We'll click add. So now we have our $200 in funding from DDF and the club. We've spent $200. So over here, our budget summary shows our income and expenses, and the cash flow amount is 0. This is what we're looking for under the budget tab. Once you have that done, you can come over to the documents and you can start uploading your receipts that you have from the dictionary order. You can also upload any images that you've taken for, if you were handing out dictionaries, you want to make sure you grab some photos of that and you can upload those here in this area. Right now, what we're going to do is submit the grant for approval, for club approval. So let me see. We're going to say collect grant signatures here. And I may need Barbara to sign off on this. So let me switch to Barbara. We're going to go back into grants.
This is not something they would do.
Where is my grant?
You're in 22, 23.
You're in the wrong year.
That's right.
And that's
Good
a
eye.
typical trap we all fall into.
Yep. So this is where you would click here on this button. This window opens.
You got to go
And
down there. There you go.
you can click change org gear. So here is our grant. We're gonna click this pencil because now we are Barbara, and I'm gonna say club sign grant. And everything is there. There are signatures. I really like the signature log and I like the activity log. It kind of lets you track, where you're at and what you've done.
Rachel,
Yes.
you had talked about taking pictures. One of the things you got to be cautious of if you're taking pictures of students that your local legal requirements are met. Maybe you can't take a child's picture without a parental permission, or you can take a picture of maybe a child from the back where you can't see their face. You got to be cautious there.
Yes, that's a good point. You do want to be, make sure that we keep those kiddos safe for sure. Now, this. Now we're going to submit this to the district for, why is it? We both signed it. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing the submit for district approval up there. It could be because both Barbara and I are
Same level.
high level users. I may have, sorry about that. I probably should have gone through our Hollywood Fictional Club to do this, but so now we've submitted our grant for district approval. You can see this here. Now we're going to go over to the grant, district grant view, because I need to go over there and say, yeah, we want to approve this. And this is kind of what they see at the district side. Everything is kind of broke down by where the grant is at in that process. And right here, you can see our test grant is here for district review and approval. So someone on your grant chair will sign off on this. Who is, Barbara, who can I switch to?
Jim Hardison. Jim Hardison. Is that what you're wanting? Who can approve it? Or
Yeah.
Tracy Ivy, either one. Tracy's with us, so there you
Perfect.
go.
We're going to switch to Tracy. And Tracy is approving grants or looking at grants. So she's going to go down to our grant, click the edit pencil. She'll go through each section to make sure everything has been completed. And then she's going to say, okay, this looks good. I'm going to sign off on it. And you can go do your grant now. Here if they needed more information, they could have asked for that, but now I'm going to go back. I'm going to switch back over to Barbara so we can get this grant moving along. And now we're back here. We're going to go back to the club grants view. We got to switch our org gear again. And now here we are. So now the district has approved our grant. They've signed off on it and we can go do our project. And this is where, once you've done the project and you have your pictures taken, everything is good to go. You'll start uploading things here under the documents, grant. Barbara and I are actually, we probably need to set up a meeting with my boss, Mark Landman, to tell him exactly how we want things to operate over here, but we're hoping to get something where the MOU and everything is signed right in here. Let's see. We're gonna say that the grant has been approved. Let's change that. And here's our final report tab. So as you're going through these different stages up here, tabs begin to populate as you go across. So right now we want to work on our final report. And you're going to click on that tab and come through. And here you get to enter like how many people benefited from the project. And we'll say 300. How many Rotarians participated? We'll just say 10 people participated. You'll need to give examples of what they did. So handing out dictionaries and putting, what are those things called? The book plate or the nameplate, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Nameplate. And books. There was no other organization involved. So this is our final report. We're going to go up and click Save Final Report. A pop-up window will open telling you that it's been saved and that the PDF of the report can be found in the Document tab. So if we go back over here to the Documents tab, here's our final report, and you can click on it. It'll download. And this is what it looks like when it's been submitted and completed.
I have a question.
Sure.
On that other organizations involved, when we do shop with a cop, do we list JCPenney there?
Yes.
Okay.
Or the local police station that you've worked with on Shop with a Cop. That's
How
Okay.
about the schools?
This normal, like with the dictionary project, the school really isn't doing anything. You know, the club buys the dictionaries, they put the nameplates in the dictionaries, and then they deliver the dictionaries. So I don't normally have clubs in my district put the school there.
Okay, thanks.
But with Shop with the Cop, you're actually working with your, you know, a local retailer like Target, Penny's, Kroger, you know, something along those lines. And then you're also working with your local police department. So those are two you know, the police department is definitely an organization. The retailer, you know, you could always, if you're developing that relationship and it's going to be a long-term relationship, I would say, yes, you could include them. They do normally, I mean, in my district with Shop with a Cop, like Target and Walmart, all of those retailers are actually donating money to us when we do that event. So giving them
They're getting us a hefty discount.
Exactly. So I encourage you to include them as well.
And there's one other organization that sort of participates. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether it's as the organization or just the individual. The guy who runs Joy Soup Kitchen shows up at Shop with a Cop with backpacks for all the kids.
Yeah,
So that's a separate thing. I mean, they get their clothing and such at the Penny's counter, and then on the way out, he gives them a backpack. So
That's
should we
awesome.
include him in there too?
I would too. I mean, he's participating in this project and you know, giving to the students as well. So I would say yes. But I would definitely check with your grant chair and your district grant committee. They'll be able to give you those, you know, definite final answers. Once You have your final report saved. You're going to collect your final signatures for the report. So you'll just click on this button up here. And then you're going to say, okay. Then I think I have to be me to sign it too. You guys are getting a behind the scenes look at, if I ever call you or if you ever call me and I tell you I'm impersonating you, now you know how I do that.
That might have been dangerous.
I know. So I'll click here and then you'll see here, sign final report is right up here for me. So I'm going to sign it. Sign grant. And we're going to click on submit final report. The submit final report sends everything back to the district for approval because we're right here on step 6. So we're going to click this. And now we are going to have to go back to being Tracy. So we can look at the district side of it real quick. Let's go to the district tab, click on district grants, district grant view. And here are the approved grants. We're going to be way down here for district review. Here's our grant. We're going to click here. And Tracy is going to go through and look at everything. She's going to double check and make sure that our images and all of our documents, the MOU, all of those requirements need to be uploaded here under the documents tab. Then she'll check the signature log and check the final report. Once everything looks good to Tracy, she is going to say district sign final report. Once she does this, and you guys must need another signature, so I'm just going to change this. And we're going to say final report approved. And then there's one more. Once the final report is approved and we know the project has been completed, we can say, we don't want to close the project. We're just going to say project complete. We'll change that status. Now, see, I'm still Tracy over here. When we go to the district view, our approved grant will be here. Where is it? Where did it go? Oh, it's completed. So it's down here right now. We are going to say, why did it? Once it's been completed, this is where they will start cutting your checks. Sorry, I got a little confused. They've been making some changes over here and it's.
Rochelle, they actually get the check prior to completion.
Oh, they do.
Yes.
My apologies. Yes, you guys will get your checks sooner. In my district, the grant has to be completely done before the checks are mailed out. So is it during this approved process that the check gets cut?
As soon as it's approved and the money comes in, we distribute it, yes.
Awesome. So does anybody have any questions? I haven't looked at the chat yet.
I have a question for Tracy.
Yes.
The district grant applications coming up are for the 22-23 Rotary year.
Yes, sir.
But I assume they cannot begin until July 1st.
Exactly.
Can they begin anytime after July 1st? Or do we have to wait till we receive our district grant check?
If you can move it forward without that check, I would do that. Because I know that some things are time sensitive. It depends on what you're doing. So if you have an opportunity to do something in July, but you know the check's not going to come until August or the 1st of September, you want to get your project done because it's time sensitive. So if you can carry that, that's fine.
Good.
You
Thank
just
you.
have to make sure that you have the receipts and you show the flow of the money.
Right. Okay, thank
Where
you.
can we see the amount that each club is going to be getting if they do everything right?
Well, Barbara sent that out. The
Several
preliminary,
times.
preliminary has
Here
been
somewhere.
sent out, but it's also in this year's PETS book. We've opted to give that information out. In fact, the first time I think people saw it was at the district conference, because it would allow clubs who wanted to perhaps change their project but weren't sure about the money. It helps them say, oh, well, we have more money than we've had in the past.
Yes,
Maybe we don't want to do the dictionaries. Let's go and do this.
right.
Because by the time you found out in March, where you were pushing up on that deadline of April,
Right.
and you know, we're all volunteers, and people were kind of saying, no, let's do the same thing because we've already kind of got it, you know, copy and paste. So we gave that out, I think in November was the first time, and it has gone out since then, but it will be in the PETS book.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's brilliant. That's super helpful to the clubs to know where they're standing
Mhm.
at DDF. Anything else?
Tracy,
Yes,
are the grant videos still up to date? We might have some folks that would want to run through those videos to get up to speed. Are they still a good tool to use?
you're talking about the ones that we have recorded while we've done this, or, you know, there was a voiceover PowerPoint that we had. It has to be corrected. There's a couple of things that need to be changed on that. And I have, because of COVID, the college will not let me in to re-record. So hopefully soon, now that things are a little more normal, I can get in and do that.
Okay.
DAC-DB, I know that right now Rochelle's showing that there's a lot of things on DAC-DB University that will be helpful, but we have one specifically for our district. And again, there are some global grant changes that have to be made. And like I said, can't get in there to re-record.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Is this
Tracy,
this
this is
video accessible through the
Roch-
district?
Yes,
Rochelle's
all
showing
the
it to
things
you.
out.
Yeah, this one, this grant application and final report, this is
Okay,
located under the support tab. So you click on support, then DAC-DB training in the left side menu, and this DAC-DB University Tuesday training is where you
Okay.
want to go. And this one was done on 7/14/2020. So all of these videos are kind of in date order. I think this one is our most recent. Let me double check. Oh,
And Barbara can
we got
send
two
this
more
link
right
out.
here.
Yeah.
So part one, I believe, is the one for clubs to watch, whereas grants part two is more of a district level. I liked this one up here, but I think they decided to redo it. Where is it? Right here. This one was pretty good. I use this link to send out a lot to people that need help with their grant application.
Tracy, this is Bill Wall. When I got my packet in the email, it looks like the date on the addendum for the MOU is 21-22. Is that supposed to be 22-23?
It should be 22, 23. And that's one of the reasons why we're kind of wanting to move forward with DAC-DB having the MOU and MOU addendum already kind of in it. It's very confusing because you're signing your MOU the Rotary year prior to when you're going to do the project. And that's always been a little confusing. So that's why we kind of want it kind of held inside of DAC-DB, because it just is going to make it simpler for everyone.
And
Okay.
Tracy, I've also taken those dates off of all of the new versions too.
Hopefully next go round, what we're going to see is either within the grant within this area, another tab that would be MOU, and your club could sign off on it there, just like you do the final report. And then, you know, a PDF be populated over here in the documents area. I think that's what Barbara and I thought would be
Yeah. Be helpful to have it in that.
the most, you know, it makes the most sense to
Right.
have it, you know, for each club within the grant.
Mhm.
It's helpful to the district grant committee and to the clubs.
I just think it will be less stressful
Mhm.
on everyone.
Yes.
Brand secure files.
And you'll probably be able to, like, we'll have a kind of a template of the MOU that your district can customize to best fit the needs of the district.
Then you won't have to be chasing people down to get a signature. You can just send them here.
And when you go into your computer as yourself and you click sign grant, it knows it's you.
Yes.
So it's not like you're having to figure out, okay, well, how do I make my name? It knows it's you. And when you click sign grant, it automatically does that.
You'll see here on this grant, it's been signed by actual club members, and there's just kind of the process.
Mhm.
Tracy,
Yes.
Paul Platic.
Hey, Paul.
So we're closing out now the grant from 21-22.
Right.
What is due on April 1st?
April 1st is the new grant application.
22-23?
Yes, 22-23.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
And Barbara, make sure you record that I'm here.
I've got it.
Are there any other questions for Rochelle? Or me, or Barbara?
And I'm going to add my my email to the chat for you all. If you have any issues, feel free to shoot me a email. Or call Barbara.
I'm not near as busy as Rochelle.
Yeah, it's pet season. It's
Can I
been a
ask
little crazy.
The Manio Club has not confirmed what we're doing yet this year. Can any of the other clubs share projects that they've done that have really been successful that they're planning to do again?
You can go look under the district grants and see what everybody's done and click on those and look at them, can't she? Am I not correct that she can do that?
See. What's
It's
your
been a
name?
long time since I've been on that level.
Who asked that question?
Adrian Palmer.
From Manio.
Adrian Palmer.
Adrian, this is Frank Jacklick with the Hertford Rotary Club, and we've
Palmer.
been doing accelerated.
Palma.
Is that right?
Yeah. It should show up. Hey, it's Adrian. I'm sorry. Adrian.
Oh,
I was so busy looking at the last name, I didn't realize you had the first name wrong.
ADRIENNE.
There you go.
IENNE.
there you are.
There
What were you saying, Frank?
Well, here at the we've been doing something called Accelerated Reader Program for a long time, and about every 3 years we ask ourselves, is this the right project? And so we certainly asked the school, and like Manio, we're a very small school system. We graduate probably 125 kids a year, but there are some years with budget constraints we may be the only new books those kids get, and we put the books in the all school. There's 3 different schools, or 4 schools by different grades. So the program applies from first graders all the way to seniors, and the school administration helps us select appropriate books for those kids to read. And these are designed for kids to read books that are outside their curricula. So it gets them to understand that reading is good beyond what's assigned by the teacher. During the pandemic, we were concerned that kids weren't going to get to it. We gave kids books from the program. We
They
kind of
went home with their food.
went home with their food so that kids took books home. And it was a little deviation, but certainly the pandemic called for creative thinking, and we did that. Again, this year we asked the school system if they want to do it, and they said yes. So it's always good to ask the recipients, what do they think of your program? And I think that's important. The other thing we do with that program is when we get the books, we put book plates in them, the Hertford Rotary Club, and our guest speakers sign those books. So we don't give them mugs or anything. They sign the book and know they feel like they're part of this program, and it's always been good. And it's good PR for the club, the speaker, and the school.
I'm going to correct my husband, though. Sometimes the books are related to the curriculum. One year they ordered a whole set about different Indian tribes because one of the grades, that's what they were studying in social studies.
That's great. Adrian, it looks like, yes,
you.
a member can go in. And like I said, I've been at this level for a long time, so I can't remember what it would look like, but it shows all of the approved projects. So definitely reach out. And if you need to know who the contact is, either Jim or I can tell you.
And we did the book bags,
Thank you.
and that has been a tremendous popular program. In fact, we're doing it again for the 3rd year in a row, because a lot of these kids, when they start back to school, their parent, you've seen that list we all get. It's about 15 miles long.
Right.
And a lot of the parents can't buy those things. And who ends up buying them? Teachers.
Yeah.
And so that's what we have done. And again, it's been extremely successful and well received. And Walmart deals with us and sells us the book bags and stuff at almost nothing. I think we
All right,
gave
thank you.
1,000 out this past year.
Wow. Wow. $1.90 a piece. Good for you.
That's a steal.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see, what other clubs are doing in your district, for
I
sure.
thought you could.
Tracy, this is Bill Wall. I'm traveling and I'm driving, and I just wonder if this meeting is about over, because
It is, unless someone else, I will say this. Any
I
of
just didn't know if
you,
I could sign.
oh, yeah. Anyone, thank you, Rochelle.
Oh, you're good.
Anyone who has some more specific questions, stay on, but the rest of you, thank you so much for attending. I look forward to approving all of the stuff that's going to be coming in April 1st.
Thanks a
Thank
lot. Good
you.
session.
Thank you, everybody.